until the stars collide. Dust horizons start to bend. White sky red. Ride the thunder through the dunes. Silver storm beneath the moon. Footprints cross the haze, lost horizons rearranged. Ancient motion never sleeps, the wind remembers what it keeps. The storm keeps running. Little Charlie keeps his secrets in a box beneath the bed, folding notes of broken wishes, things he never said. The Christmas lights are flickering like they're shivering in the cold, and Charlie feels much older than the years he's had. There goes all the questions that live inside his mind. So hold the snow, don't let it fall. Little Charlie's barely standing tall. He's whispering to shadows just to feel a little heard. A tiny voice in winter lost beneath a trembling word. Oh, hold the snow, don't let it go. Tonight he's breaking Little Charlie draws a family, smiling on the page. Pretends the world is gentle for a moment while he saves a bit of fragile hope inside the lines he tries to trace. But even crayons shake when tears fall slowly down his face. He wonders if the sunrise could warm the hurt away. But Christmas keeps returning to the same old yesterday. So hold the snow, don't let it fall. Little Charlie's barely standing tall. He's whispering to shadows just to feel a little heard. A tiny voice in winter lost beneath a trembling word. Oh, hold the snow, don't let it go. Tonight he's breaking slow. A home that isn't shaking, a heart that keeps its youth. But tonight the world is heavy and he's smaller than the pain. Little Charlie closes tired eyes and counts the stars by name. So a blanket for his heart today. If Christmas can't be peaceful, let the winter try instead to lift the weight of memories that echo in his head. Oh, little child, breathe again. Someday you'll your fragile soul
Not everybody here is an atheist. Okay. In fact, the gentleman that we were just talking to, I believe, said he believed in God and said that he was Christian.
Christian.
In fact, he said he was, did he say Baptist? Not Methodist.
Wasn't
he said Baptist.
But yeah.
Pardon? I'm sorry?
It wasn't me, but thanks for allowing me to speak. Thanks.
Sure, yeah. So no, not everybody here is an atheist. And John Kitover, who just came in, claims not to be an atheist.
Hello? All right. That makes a little sense. Well, I had some questions.
Sure.
How can you look yourself in the mirror every day and know you supported Karen Bass? I just don't understand you, Dr. Adams. I just don't understand you.
Like, what do you want me to say, Kitover? What do you want me to say? Karen Bass is actually doing good for Los Angeles. She's protecting Jewish people. You know, down the street from my house, you know, there's, an LAPD cop car that's parked next to the Shabbat. So I'm trying to understand, Kitover, what is your point of contention with Karen Bass?
Well, it's not really. Now that I know she's defending the Jews, I think we can work together for the common good of the community, for peace and for justice and for truth. So let's partner up today, Dr. Adams.
I'm telling you, Kitover, I feel like, a lot of people have kind of gotten lost in political talking points. I mean, Nithya Raman, do you feel like, as a person that, wants to engage geopolitically, do you feel like Nithya Raman is going to be the answer?
How can she be the answer when she is the problem herself? She has no guru. She does not read the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. She is just a comet. She's a senseless, agnostic, atheist, communist, socialist, just like Karen Bass. But that's okay because she's a radical communist, and they don't know they don't know the source of the money and how economics really works. They're very low IQ. That's my opinion.
No, I think they're definitely low IQ.
Dude, you saw my comments in that Trump House room where everybody's defending Carmelo Anthony and calling for his release, and they're saying there's all self-defense. We have delusional people who project their ideology outside of rational reality. And these are dangerous people, and I think you recognize that as well, is that we are living in a society with actually very dangerous people who have homicidal ideation, or they approve of homicidal activity, and therefore we're living with NFRs. Are you familiar with what an NFR is? He doesn't want to answer the question. Hello, Dr. Adams. Can you hear me? Are you familiar with the term NFR? Apparently, he's not familiar with this term.
Who believes in Jesus, believes that, we should be good people, we should mirror the life of Christ, and the character of Christ and all of that, and go out of their way to intentionally try to inflict pain on other people in the name of the Lord, in the name of the Lord, and trying to justify it from the scriptures and all. It's the highest form of evil I think I've ever encountered or ever experienced or ever come in contact with. It's not something I want to talk about, right? So here I am, right? I have had conversations with Christians, and maybe Scott might have a different point of view. I'm a very open-minded person. I've had a few conversations with Muslims. I was like, what's the basis for your religion? And they were like, oh, we believe in Allah, we worship, and I was like, okay, so it's the same cycle of worshiping and believing and reading the Quran, kind of work. And they were like, oh, there are distinctions, and they were trying to draw that out and all, but still didn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, I'd like to hear from an atheist point of view what what's the basis for your belief? What's it? Is it a belief? What's your argument? Yeah, I'm very open-minded.
You mean you want to know why I don't believe in God? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you, pretty much.
Sure, I'll be happy to tell you. Because I don't believe in the paranormal. I don't believe in the supernatural. I find a lot of the events in the Bible could not have happened because they both all logic as well as all common sense and science. Not that I rely on science for everything, but most of my beliefs I rely on science. And I've taken a look at a lot of the evidence over many years in support of God and a lot of the evidence against the existence of God. And I find the evidence against the existence of God more substantial, more compelling, and more believable. That's why I don't believe in God.
Okay. Is this I understand that the question was, why don't you believe in God?
Yeah.
So the follow-up question would be that, would you on good authority say that you speak for maybe not all, but a good percentage of atheists?
I can speak for atheists in that atheists have one thing and only one thing in common, and that is we do not believe that God exists. Other than that, all of us atheists, which by the way are about 500 million in the world, 8 to 10% of the population, have different world views, different thoughts on life, different values, and a different moral. For other atheists, in regards to that and that alone. Other than that, I speak for myself only.
Okay, so since we are focusing on...
By the way, I have to ask you, do you have a swing in the background or some type of metal chain that's going back and forth? Yeah, it's kind of distracting. I was able to put up with it for a while, but it was getting louder, so it was distracting me. But I'll try and fight through it.
Is it better?
Yeah, we'll fight through it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that since we are focusing on proof for the purpose of this conversation, because as I said before, I am in search of answers. I would ask to know what I could call it an evidence, right? What evidence backs up whatever stance that you have. I'm not here to critique anything.
You want me to provide you the evidence why I don't believe in God? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'd like
Well, as I said, God involves a supernatural, paranormal, higher power being. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
And God presumably has done and or continues to do a lot of things that are supernatural and paranormal. Do we agree with that?
Yeah, to a degree.
To a degree. Okay, fair enough. I don't believe in the supernatural or the paranormal. I do not agree that a lot of the events that are described in the Bible actually took place. For example, Moses parting the Red Sea, Moses turning a dead piece of wood into a cobra snake, Jesus walking on water, Jesus taking Lazarus from the dead and making him live again. And of course, last but not least, Jesus being dying on the cross and then being resurrected. I don't believe any of those things are true. I don't believe those things are true because they defy all logic, all science, all common sense. I also don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe that angels are real. And I don't believe in the devil. And I don't believe that God is looking down on all 7.5 billion people on the planet. There's a plethora of evidence for you why I don't believe in God.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Excuse me, this is Progressive E-Time. I got a new question for Steve. Steve, what's
John, you can ask me your question in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Let's go back on turn. Thank you. Mod abuse. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's a lot different for me. You know why it's different? Yeah, understood. Now, as I said before, I'm at a crossroads. I'm at a crossroad, right?
Can I ask you a couple of questions which might get us to hit the nail on the head? And if you feel uncomfortable, just answer them, if that's okay. Okay. I think you said you're Christian, yes?
I said,
I'm sorry?
listen, go ahead.
I didn't hear you. You're Christian, yes or no?
I'm Christian.
Okay. And when you say you're at a crossroads, are you at a crossroads regarding your belief in God or Christianity? Or both?
Both. I would say both.
Fair enough. This is going to seem weird, but it's very important. Do you pay your own bills? It's an important question. Is somebody paying your bills for you, or are you paying your own bills?
I'm paying my own bills.
Okay, and here's the reason why I asked. So you don't have to answer to anybody. Nobody is going to cut you off. You're not going to go homeless if you all of a sudden decide to change religions, to drop religions, or change your belief in God. I can tell you this, and you may have heard me say it earlier. If God is working for you, which it appears right now you have questions on, but if God is working, you should keep God in your life. But the same thing goes for Christianity. If Christianity is not currently working for you, then maybe you should step back. There's a large partisan. What country do you live in? The United States or a different country?
Oh no, I don't live in the United States.
Do you want to say what country you live in?
Yeah, that's totally fine. I live in Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay, very good. There's a growing segment of the population around the world that are departing from their religions that they grew up with. They still believe in God, but they are becoming non-affiliated with their religion. And if you are currently at a crossroads and becoming dissatisfied with both God and the Christian religion, and you're considering leaving, what I would suggest is don't leave. You don't necessarily have to participate going to houses of worship. You said you had some bad experiences. You can absolutely still believe in God. You can still worship and follow the Christian religion on your own. You don't need a pastor. You don't need a priest. And you don't need a house of worship to do that. You can do that on your own and do some deep soul searching. From what I'm hearing from you, I would not yet today automatically leave God and leave the Christian religion, but you might want to consider taking a few steps back from the religious community in the houses of worship that you've spent all of your life in, and do some soul searching and some reevaluating. How does that sound? Good, good, bad, completely out of left field?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Do you mind if you let that simmer and digest for a bit and we move on? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine. We can move on.
Okay. I enjoyed speaking to you. I hope you enjoyed speaking to me.
I did.
Thank you. Deepak. Hi, Deepak. Welcome. Hi, Deepak.
Hello.
Well, if you don't want to... Oh, hey, hi.
Hey.
That's okay. Did you want to speak now or did you want to wait?
Yeah, I was hoping you, yeah, and Itam, you might want to hear this as well. So the good news is that you may be able to save 30% or more on your car insurance by switching to Geico.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And that is true. You just not might be able to do that. Good point. Okay, John Kitover, you wanted to contribute. Go ahead.
Yeah, Steve, this is Progressive Liberal, aka John Kitover. Steve, you explained that ETOM, your beliefs about atheism.
No, ETOM's not on stage. I didn't speak to ETOM. What do you mean?
The previous speaker, yeah.
That's why I called her. Yeah, go ahead.
So, my questions that came to mind when I heard you explaining your position is, you make a lot of all or nothing statements about what is truth, what is a fact. This is categorically an opinion, things like that. So my questions that came to mind was like, can you explain to us what an analogy is or what a metaphor is, and is an analogy or a metaphor truthful? That's my question.
It's when you compare one thing to another. That's it.
Okay, but is it truthful? If I give you an analogy, would you consider it a truth?
Well, you give me an analogy and I'll tell you if I think it's true. Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to answer that question that you want me to give you an analogy. I was asking you if an analogy or a metaphor can be true. That's my question to you.
Oh, can it be true? Absolutely. Of course it can be true. It can also not be true.
Okay. So I just wanted to confirm I'm actually dealing with a rational person. And I'm happy to be here in the after party.
For a couple of years. You don't know whether or not I'm rational yet.
Well, is it rational to get angry on a free conference call?
I said you've known me for a couple of years. You
Hello?
don't know that I'm rational yet.
Hello? I'm sorry.
Yeah, hello.
I can't hear you.
Once again,
You're so
no
loud.
answer to direct
Hello?
questions.
You're so
Yes,
loud, I
like
can't
you
hear you.
always do.
I can't hear you. You're too loud. And you sound angry. I can't argue with you. You're angry. I'm happy.
Why do you
Leave me
want to
alone.
argue with me?
I'm happy. Leave me alone. You angry. I can't
Then why
argue
do
with
you
you
say you can't argue with me?
because you're angry. And I'm happy. I can't argue with you. And so now that we're in the Acts, the atheist after party, and it's a soiree, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe that Jesus Christ or Moshe Rabbeinu here is actually a dramatist, because I read a book. Steve doesn't read books anymore, but I read books, and it talks things. We're making music, but drama, not many people consider drama to be an art, and drama requires communication. So Steve is actually a creator of drama communication, but he's low IQ, and yeah, he did ride the short bus, and he did read it. But to get angry over people's positions is very juvenile, and it's very low IQ to get emotionally invested in a free conference call. I am complete, and thank you for listening.
Shaho, yeah, Shaho, hi, you're up
Hello.
next. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hang on just a second. Let's go Shaho and then Human. Okay, Shaho, you're up. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
With my most respect, thank you very much. With my most respect, Mr. Progressive or maybe Gay Boy, shut the fuck up and leave the chat or room. Because this is not for you. Okay. Well, first of all, hello, Steve.
Wait, did you just tell me to shut the fuck up, gay boy? I gotta speak up, Steve. This is abusive, and harassment. And I'm sorry.
In the audience, speak up all you want. Yeah, go ahead, Shaho.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is the kind of stuff that man would do, and I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I'm gonna say that this is the great opportunity to speak about thoughts, about ideas, and I realized that the previous year, I just faced a channel that a guy like you that speaks about some atheist stuffs and some knowledge about it, but you difference from that. I apologize because of my weakness of my speaking English.
Your English is just fine. Continue.
Thank you, because English is my third language.
What are your first two? What are your first two?
My first is Kurdish.
And the second?
Second is Persian.
Keep going.
Thank you. Well, those channel, it's supposed to be the fastest growing channel in this stuffs like atheist theories and some conversations about some of the point of that. I don't know, but your channel is different. Is having huge difference than the other channel. The difference is that you don't focus on the kind of some speaking about some suburbs, what the words used for the suburbs in cities, well, suburbs in the discussions.
I'm sorry, I was momentarily distracted. Was that a question? I missed the question. I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Okay, continue.
My bad, bro.
Thank you for the compliments about the atheism house. Please continue.
Okay, yeah. Well, previous year I realized that I'm atheist too, but I have questions. I have a couple of questions. So maybe we discuss about it in this room, and maybe it would be helpful to speak about it. And some guys and people will listen and learn. So the question is, if God, he keep it away from him, automatic, and
Well, I think you're referring to the deist point of view. The deists believe that God created the universe, and then once he finished, his job was over. He has not been intricately involved in what's happened after the creation. However, what you could also add to that, what I add to that, is that if God, let me rephrase. What I add to that is, if God exists, God is purposely holding back the proof that he does exist. God, all powerful, all knowing, that which was, that which is, and that which will be. God, if God exists, God is purposely holding back the proof that he exists.
Oh, Steve, I think this is Soren Kierkegaard's argument. I think.
I don't know, but I'm glad you're back.
This is. I think Kierkegaard makes the. It's sort of like.
Let me just tell you where we're at. We've got the gentleman that was on stage and asked the question. He left. Okay, we're Christian and JCC are new, and then I don't know if you heard the discussion with. Oh no, I was talking. I'm sorry. I believe I was talking with Show.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so it's Shoho, Christian, and JCC. Back to you, Reverend Scott.
Yeah, I want to say that this is Kierkegaard's argument. Yeah, the king and the maiden. This is this idea that this king disguises himself as a beggar. It's a parable that disguises himself as a beggar to sort of win this maiden's love, because he wants to be assured that the love is genuine, right? That it's not because of his illustrious power and fame and wealth. And so he disguised, and this is, Kierkegaard said, this is sort of the reason for the incarnation, where God would come as this poor servant in Christ, hiding his divine nature or something. So that's Soren Kierkegaard, who I always think would be so interesting if he had met Nietzsche, because they are both great existentialists, and one was a believer, one was not. So there you go. Christian, have you repented of your Unitarianism yet?
I have not. I know.
Don't you want to be part of the Orthodox team?
Oh, I think of that, and then I think of how kids in Orthodox and Catholic churches, are assaulted every year, and it kind of just it kind of just turns me off. I don't really like that idea. I would prefer to keep my innocence. It's nice, with Unitarianism, because we don't have a huge organized church. Ours are pretty simple and small. I
heard that they start the prayers in the Unitarian Church, to whom it may concern.
No, they don't. They don't. As much as most people would think, and that was a fun.
Uncle Steve, thank you for holding down this illustrious room.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. You're welcome.
We got some great folks here. LS, my buddy from the Southwest. Love that guy.
The Southwest.
He's from the Southwest, the dry heat, as they say. Alma, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good evening, Scott, and Steve, and everyone else. How are you?
Doing great. We got some.
Well, kind of been listening to you guys on and off most of the day today. I had some things to do, and I didn't want to annoy anyone too much. So I figured I'll just listen, and here we are now near the end, I think, for you guys, or maybe not, but not a lot of people out there. figured I'll run something by you. I always have, ideas about stuff. I do a lot of reading, and consequently, you pick up a lot of stuff. And I got all sorts of ideas kind of running around in my head. Some of them I don't know what to make of. Some of them make some sense. I've been reading about the demise of the Roman Empire a little bit. And it's not something new. I've known about that for a long time. But one of the more interesting narratives that I've come across recently is, it was not, these things don't happen overnight, and it's not sudden. And it's a gradual thing, and it's the accumulation of a lot of bad decisions and bad deeds and the consequences to awful behavior. But by the time people realize it, it's already too late. But one of the things that they talked about in this particular narrative I was reading, it was the population decline. These guys literally kind of more or less died out. The cycle of life works its way on them. And eventually, I'm not going to say there was no one left. Of course, there was plenty of people left. But those who were left were not enough to keep the empire going. And it just kind of fell under its own weight. There wasn't enough men and women, mostly men at the time, to kind of do the heavy lifting. And this kind of brings us into all the stuff that we've been hearing about. Elon Musk has been the champion of this particular story, but by no means the only one. Ranting and raving about the decline, about the birth rate, and how it's declining in most Western countries. And now it's even, it hasn't been enough to compensate for the death rate, but now it's like not even close, it's half. So in some places, Korea is used as an example, in 3 generations, which is a lifetime of one person nowadays, it could be, you could be looking at like a population collapse to get people to F again and have kids. It would seem like it's a straightforward enough process that's been going on for a long time. And most of us, I think, have figured out how to do it. Yet, not a lot of people are doing it seems. And I do see places in Europe that talk about this kind of stuff and try to emphasize it. Some of the European countries, Scandinavians, and Holland, the Netherlands, and Denmark, and places like Belgium, smaller countries, they've always incentivized childbearing and child rearing. It doesn't seem like it's working out. What ended up working out is that they brought a lot of foreigners who are producing a lot of babies and looking basically to change the makeup and the identity of the country. So that didn't work out very well. And now here in the States, you start to hear imprints in news whenever they talk about this. They talk about the anchor baby. This was not a term used out loud in media, not until maybe 10 years ago. You knew about it, but it was not used like that. And now when we use it here about people coming here and having an anchor baby, it's always a negative connotation. It always implies that these people or these women, let's say, because men can't get pregnant no matter what anyone says, these women are coming here and they are setting up shop or establishing base for something far more nefarious further down the road. So, and with the deportation, on in full strength, some people are getting deported, but their children, because they were born here, are left behind if they don't choose to take them with them. So we are in a mess, and I don't know how to fix it, but the bottom line is The birth rate is very low, and we need to fix it. And we can learn about from China, a place with a lot of people, lots and lots of people. And for the longest time in China, for about 40 years, maybe more, they've had a one-child policy because they were trying to curb the population growth. And by and large, they succeeded. It was very ugly. It was very unpleasant. A lot of girls were killed at birth because, some of those families, they wanted boys for whatever reason. Well, I think we know the reason. We're not going to go into it. And now, and then as time marched on, you ended up with an imbalance between men and women. It seems like, nature always favored more women by a very small percentage. But when you go out and say one-child policy, and an increasingly number of people keep killing the girls until they have a boy, you end up with a lot of single men in the future. And not only that, now they're talking, China is back to encouraging people to have more kids for the population to collapse. If you don't have enough young people coming up to kind of, to work and produce and pay taxes and help cover the expenses of the old. It's not clear what the fix for it is. You gotta be very careful. 1 minute you have a baby boom and too many babies, and then you scale down, you cut down that and you reduce it to one child. Then barely a couple of generations later, you're looking at a demographic bomb. So I don't know what you're gonna do, Uncle Steve, but I'm asking you here, what is the plan to make people F more and have more babies? Thank you.
You want Steve to encourage people to fuck more? Okay.
Well, hold on. Let's see.
Yes, I just made a comment. So if I say one word, everybody erupts because I spoke.
Yeah,
It's not like I interrupted.
JCC, exactly.
For fuck's sake, I just made a comical statement and I get interrupted.
Amari,
calm. Oh my
I
gosh.
found it very funny and I'm responding in the same manner. Yes, I want Uncle Steve to be in charge of people fucking. Thank you.
Okay, now that's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna.
I'll respond very quickly. It's a fact that the world population has not suffered a decrease in over 100 years. And I do not see the world population decreasing anytime soon, regardless of what's going on one particular country. So I'm not worried about it. That's my response.
But however, there is a big decrease globally in birth rates. And it seems to be a concern, especially for economists and, it's also a benefit to the environment because decreasing populations decreases the footprint that damages the climate. So that's one good thing. But there are issues because of shrinking workforce, causes struggle on tax revenue, like Almari was bringing up. However, I think it's kind of like, the climate change. It ebbs and flows. Same with populations. It's going to ebb and flow. And like Steve said, I'm not too worried about it either because it's within us as a society to keep society going. And this may be a good thing. A little decrease in population is not necessarily a bad thing. So, yeah.
What's interesting is this happens in wealthy nations, right? I mean, the reason why the population continues to increase at a significant rate is countries that are less developed have more kids, right? And the only advanced economy that has a replacement birth rate, I believe, is Israel. And I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but what I've heard anecdotally from friends like Eitan is that their numbers are really inflated by the ultra-Orthodox who have a bunch of kids. That if you factored out the ultra-Orthodox, Israel's birth rate would look a lot like Western Europe's United States. So interesting.
When the world population decreases 5 to 10 years in a row, I'll start worrying about it. Until then, I'm not.
Well,
I agree.
there's a good thing studies have been done on this, and what they've concluded is that in about, let's see, what it's 26, in about 75 to 100 years, we're going to reach around, give or take, 10 to 11 billion people on the earth. And then there's going to be a dramatic decrease back to the original amount that we have around now over the course of about 50 years, if not more. And then it will stabilize again. The reason that is just because of basic population patterns. And just because we see this large decrease in populace worldwide or per country is not something to be alarmed about. This is something that we have already put thought into to prepare for.
I agree with Reverend Scott that it's a matter of wealth. The wealthier nations get, the more its people become preoccupied with other crap, and they stop, popping babies. The only unique thing about this year, and the reason why a lot of people, I think, are concerned and are ringing alarm bells, is that in Europe in particular, along with a huge decline in the native population, the indigenous people of these of European countries, there is a huge migration from other places, and those people are fucking like crazy. And they are increasing, and they are having a lot of kids, and they are taking advantage of the services that the state offers, or the state used to, wanted to offer to its own people to have more kids. So it's a very nefarious way of thinking. I try not to see it that way, but ultimately that is where things are headed. You go to many of those countries, and the natives make up a small, less than half the population. So the question now is, well, who is the rest of the population? They are people who have no interest of assimilating and becoming part of that country, and they are having a lot of babies. And therein lies the problem. That's not a demographic problem so much anymore. It's a political, and it's a societal, issue as well. But there's something to be said about being well off, and you would think people who are well off would want to have more kids. Or I can afford it. I can put them through college. I can raise a bunch of children. It seems like the more money people have, the more dogs they have, and I love dogs. I can't tell you I love them more than most of my relatives. But, people just stop having kids. They concentrate on other things. They want to travel. They want to go places. It used to be in this country up until the 50s, people got married out of high school mostly. That was your high school sweetheart, and you got married, and you had a bunch of kids. Now, maybe you got a divorce 30 years later, but hey, by then all the kids were grown and everything was fine, and you contributed your part as a couple into increasing the population. Nowadays, with more women delaying having kids and less people getting married, just living together without any kids, creating a strange dynamic that the demographers, I don't think, are able to sort out 100% yet. But we'll figure it out. I don't think it's all bad news. It's just interesting. We could use less people. Finally, I'll just say, yes, I agree that we could use a little less people. It's probably better for the planet. It's better on the resources. And if we just gonna tell you, Mother Nature will do something that will thin the herd and will tell you, I don't like what you're doing, reset and get back to more reasonable numbers. So luckily, I will not be allowed to see any of this.
Things work themselves out organically.
Agree, Jesus. I wholeheartedly agree. Mother Nature's got a plan, and it's going to do it, whether we like it or not.
I wouldn't say a plan, right? It doesn't intentionally have things set up, right? It does what it does.
It just does what it does, but it has a way of sorting things out in the end.
We call those the Darwin Awards.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like a vacuum, and it doesn't like a jarring imbalance. It ends up resorting, reconfiguring things out. I love one. I love the way it works, and just fascinated by how it goes about doing its business.
I need to get your glasses. If you go to my PTR, you'll be able to see a room that I hosted with, the wonderful and only Day Day.
Bert and Day Day.
That's correct.
Should Day and Cypher get married?
Now, this is the important part. I put up a poll. Hold on, JCC. I put up a poll. I know. I put up a poll asking if Day and Cypher should have a marriage, and Day responded with yes. Now, because he responded with yes, this is my question. If they do indeed get married, would you show up to the marriage?
I'm sorry, who were you hosting the room with?
It was Day Day showed up unexpectedly, but it was Bert that came in first.
You were hosting the room with Bert, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And who's getting married that will I attend?
Day and Cypher.
If Day and Cypher get married, will I attend?
Yeah. Because Day said he wants to marry Cypher, so I was just wondering if you wanted to attend that.
Who's hosting the wedding? Because I'll crash it for the food and the drink.
I would presume the Talking Apes is a house. I would presume. I mean,
the answer is yes. If I'm invited, I will attend. Yes.
Oh wow! Well, there you go, folks. Yeah. I wish Day Day the best of luck with his boyfriend, soon-to-be husband.
That's called a fiance.
Or yeah.
Considering Day Day is already married. Well, actually, they're both married.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that sounds like something we know in the Bible, don't it?
If you believe what they say is true.
Oh,
how long ago did you have this open public quick chat room?
Like give or take 30 minutes.
You did this 30 minutes ago?
No. I did it yesterday.
Oh, hilarious. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you had this room yesterday, and Day popped in after all the hoopla of being in a room with you.
Yeah. And
I thought that's what you bring it up about him being the hypocrite about hating you being on stages and in rooms, and here he is conversing in a room you opened up.
Oh yeah, he was talking with me a lot. He had a lot to say.
What a hypocrite!
But yeah, pretty interesting.
That's hilarious.
I wonder what moving. Friends, I want a clip for you.
Oh, no way, a clip?
Perfect.
No,
This just came.
not a clip. Get out.
This came from. Okay. This just came from Ezra Klein, who I love. I think I like him. I think he's one of the best.
I just want to stay stuck with it longer. Not forever, but what I'm saying is longer.
No, not me. I was in a pretty thriving community that was pretty large.
So there's about half as many Baha'i worldwide as there are Jews.
Yeah.
Interesting. I always, of course, what the interesting thing there is just how few Jewish adherents there are worldwide.
Yeah.
10 million.
Oh, I wouldn't compare it to Judaism. Judaism is like a lifestyle, right?
Well, but I think when, I read that there's like 10 million Jews in the world, and I think that doesn't mean faithful. I think it probably does mean cultural or whatever. I think it would include people like Steve Appel.
People like who?
Well, I was using Steve Appel. I don't know if you know Steve, but he runs the Ask an Atheist thing. He's a he's Jewish, and you know, and doesn't have to say so. But
I know.
Yeah.
I conceded to that argument. I actually let him win because he was calling Jews atheists, and I was like, you know what? Hey, that's what you want to call Jews. Guess you win that one.
Well, that's kind of what I know. All of my Jewish friends are atheists. So.
Yeah, well, you know, but I don't think that's what Judaism actually means. But
no, it's not.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He conceded to saying that he is a Jew and is an atheist, and I said, well, it's kind of confusing for you to say it like that. And he doubled and tripled down. So I was like, you know what, man? If that's where you want to win, yeah, then you win, bro.
I think the thing he says that's sillier is when he says he talks about the fact that there are more Jewish people who are atheists than there are Christians who are atheists. I think, in fact, it's probably
stuff going on in the back saying it that it just became normal. And that's bringing that those definitions with them, right? And that's why I asked the guy before. I said, well, what do you mean by secular? Because I think in certain conversations, when we speak to certain people, like when I have conversations with Christians, right? Other Christians, right? We have our own way of explaining things. And then when we're trying to explain things maybe to a Muslim, I say to them, I say, hey, listen, man, you're kind of explaining it as if you were explaining it to another Christian. I said, you got to kind of like dig deeper, and it's another way of speaking. And I think that's the reason why some people get frustrated and they say, oh, you don't understand what I mean. It's not that you don't understand, it's that you're speaking in a tone and with words mashed in together that have no meaning to the other to other crowds or other people. And I think atheists get stuck in this, they think they're speaking a universal language. And that just sounds like religion. So they gotta be very careful, just because you have a thought, it doesn't send that thought a shockwave through humanity and says, oh, this is how humans should think. It's not the case. I mean, I even know some religious people that do that too. I'm like, oh, you can't, But I started to build that and notice that when I started speaking to Muslims. I'm like, I can't explain it this way. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. Hope that makes sense.
John, is that the Shroud of Oxnard?
So I haven't quite decided what to call it, but yeah, I was talking to some people. Well, I wasn't talking so much. I was listening to a ridiculous conversation. Of course, you know for sure that's the real thing. Somebody in the conversation brought up that there's lots of other shrouds. If we're reporting in its appearance, and lots of other shrouds.
It reminds me of Megatron's underpants. They've got a shroud in there. I have a question for the room about the ghost in the machine, aka the Holy Spirit. Do you think that it is a psychological experience or some type of a observation in the mind for people who claim there is this Holy Spirit? Is it just a condition, a state of mind? Is it the central nervous system being fully activated? How would you describe the Holy Spirit? Hello?
Good question.
Imagination.
Some believers. The question really is, how does somebody become convinced that God talks to them? I mean, I think that, and I don't know that God doesn't. I just kind of don't think it does.
Have you looked into that bicameral mind thing?
What mind?
Bicameral.
Bicameral?
Yeah, as in two houses.
Yeah, never heard of it. Yeah.
So it's a psychological theory that this guy King didn't connect until about 3,000 years ago. 3,000 BC. And before that, thoughts like in one brain hemisphere would basically show themselves as outside spoken word to the other side of the brain because they weren't related to each other. So we see that, kind of God stops talking to people about 3,000 years ago. And that's because the brains connect to each other so you don't hallucinate this God thing. And that there's something to that with respect to people who hear voices, in the sense that in some of them there is a connection issue between the two brain hemispheres, but it's a very controversial theory, mostly because it really can't be proven or disproven because we don't have any fossil records of our brains. So anyway,
Yeah, but Sam, they've got. Don't they have skulls? Don't they have skulls that go back 5,000 years? I mean, what's the oldest human skull? Because
yes,
I know, but if the skull's shaped, the skull encapsulates the brain, so like you would be able to, get more evidence. You might be able to. I mean, you're making an all or nothing statement about a theory, so you're already shutting down possible explanations of your own theory. I mean, I'm just trying to provide more, eyes on your theory.
But you have to also those eyes have to scientifically make sense. So you cannot figure out the soft tissue of the brain and the structure of the soft tissue of the brain using the skull. So, I mean,
Well, is it just like your opinion, Sam, or is that a fact? I mean, is it a fact or is it opinion, Sam?
no, that's a fact.
That's a
Because
fact.
the most
Oh, it's
yeah,
a fact.
is about the
It's a
contour of
fact.
the outside of the brain. Because
When I take that condom off, are you going to be as if what you're hypothetically saying is true? You should probably try to learn the difference between a fact and an opinion. Look into it.
you should also realize the difference between something that's relevant and something that's irrelevant. So that would be my best. Where did John go?
Hello.
Welcome to the stage.
Hi.
What's that?
I'm watching a movie called Furious. It's like the big thing now. It's girls that were kidnapped as kids and now they're getting revenge on their kidnappers as adults.
Property taxes and investing in the government to otherwise demonize the people who are paying the most of the property taxes. Why are people making donations in the curriculum to have an understanding in one of the segment of the community. You know, shout out to a lot of people, you know, on the Republican side that say, listen, transgender people are 1% of the population. Why then are you asking 99% of the population to accommodate the awareness, the preparedness, and the overall?
Hello? Is this a new room or an old room? Because I'm in a different Trump house room. Oh. Well, Dr. Adams is in there fighting on behalf of the property taxpayers. Meanwhile, he's supporting Karen Bass, a liberal, progressive, socialist communist who doesn't give a shit about the property taxes, doesn't give a shit about the education quality. So, in my opinion, if you want to build the black and white communities, you know, which are extremely still very much separated from each other, geographically, culturally, educationally, spiritually, and I'm telling you, the collapse of society is not going to be the birth rate. It's the cell phone and the content in the media that people are consuming, which will collapse the society. And the black community is already imploding. The murders, the deaths, the homicides every single weekend, the battles for streets and corners against Latino gangs in every major city, and the influx of all these illegal aliens battling for services, benefits, and also the street markets. So, I mean, obviously, the only solution is new programming. And really, the library is the future. And if AI can do anything for us, it can save us with regards to the quality of content and getting people to be creative and to start looking back as opposed to forward, because and people that engage in it because they are the survivors. The survivors are the ones who utilize the knowledge, the information, and the wisdom of the of the universe. So that's how we build communities. You build it on truth, on wisdom, on justice, on peace. You know, blessed are the peacemakers. People on this app are not peacemakers. This app is a drama creation app with dramatists. And once you realize that drama is one of the main pillars of art, you'll understand what's really happening, and you won't get sucked into the drama creators, energy tractor beam, which is what drama does. So I am complete, Edward. I hope you like my submission.
ID or a government to come up.
So it's very, very good. I'm just trying to find out. So when I get removed from a room, then I can't see that room anymore. Is that correct?
I believe that's what happened. Let me go double check.
Yeah, if you get removed from the room, you will not see it in the hallway again. You're out.
Yeah, that's what happened. I don't know who removed me though.
Yeah, but don't take it personally, because really it's just the universe telling you.
I don't take it personal. I don't take it personal at all. I'm just surprised. That's all.
Well, don't be surprised. I'm the most kicked person on this app. I've been kicked from 10,000 rooms. I've had 100 accounts, and it's just a game. And I think you are actually being taken in by dramatists, and it's not healthy for you. And then you don't have the awareness to know that you're being suckered by a fool. Like, if they're talking, they are a fool. And if you're engaging with them, I know you're trying to be like a coach and give people life advice, but you got to remember, they're not here to receive your opinion and advice. They're actually here to fight, and they're here to create drama. And that's something that is not common in the real world. Most people don't go into conversations with the attitude of, I want to fight. But people come here with that disposition because it's free. They don't have to pay to be here. So their worst behavior comes out. And it's because they're low IQ, and they are it is what it is. They're here doing what they do because they don't have the wisdom or the knowledge to create peace. So, we just have fighters. And I'm telling you, your message is great, but you're being taken in and wasting a lot of time having redundant conversations with the same people. Like Coco, you will never, ever, ever accomplish anything arguing with Coco. Coco is a drama maker. That's my point, is that he's one of the pillars. And once you observe it and recognize it, you're like, oh, I'm crazy for even communicating with this drama maker. It's ridiculous. Hello?
Edward, you're in the Matrix, so I don't know if it's me, but I really couldn't hear anything, so sorry. She's talking about the
how much she didn't answer that. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. Muhammad, I know, she didn't really say she's going to kill the 18 million. She was referring to the mullahs.
She said, you're lying per usual, like you always do. I'm done with this man. So.
Bro. You gotta stop coming in the middle, man. You let him manage his
sitting there lying.
Stop letting him up.
He wasn't lying, Sapien.
No, but I mean, we fucking lost Muhammad for the sake of Sapien. Jesus.
I know.
And we lost Biggie because of you.
Hold on.
Anyways,
Let me bring him in.
when it comes
Let's see if he comes back.
When it comes to Bibi has no information about Iran while being an Iranian. I'm sure that Sapien knows more about Iran than Bibi, because I had a chance talking to Bibi and asking questions about Iran. She already don't know the name of cities in Iran, the ethnicities living inside of Iran. She's so retarded. I don't know, she just...
I mean, for the first time ever, I agree with Al.
Yeah. Bro, I never agree with you. Anyways.
I never agree with you. Let's send you an enemy, Benny.
Do you agree that Bibi is retarded?
Don't accept his agreement.
No,
Ali,
I'm not saying that.
Ali, by the way, you disagree with Benny. I'm on your side, Ali.
Surprising.
Agree with Benny Adam. That's the most important thing in life.
I did take Muhammad back in. Let's see what he says.
Well, so I walk into the room and he's accusing someone of saying 9 million people should be hanged. I'm confused.
No. So she didn't say that. I kept on. Bibi, the Iranian chick.
Okay.
Retarded
one. He claimed, what did she say?
That she wants to kill the 18 million. I was trying to ask her this question. She did not want to answer the question.
Wait, which 18 million? 18 million?
So there's a survey now from the Pahlavi. When you talk to Pahlavi supporting Iran, you got to bring up the sources from Iran International and Gaman survey. There's surveys out there that shows that there's about 20% support for the regime, for the government, right? Okay. So now 20% out of 93 million, you're looking at almost close to 20 million people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I said, if Reza Pahlavi comes in power, are you going to kill those 18 million people that support the regime? She could not answer the question. She kept on flip-flopping. She's like, I want to, line those mullahs up. I said, what about the 18 million people? She did not want to answer the question.
Okay, I get it now. Okay. So she didn't literally say it, but she was
she didn't. And when I called Muhammad out on lying, he threw a bitch fit and stormed off.
I agree with him. I think that he did that Biden control. There was a controlled experiment where he was talking about those 80 counties and how they
achieved. Because now that is, that is the basic outlook that people have. Is they identify the group, their rights and needs for the group, and they have to adjust their personal and individual rights and needs in accordance to that.
But give me an example of a group that you think is being an imposition.
All of this came from, all of this came from a statement that was made in metropolitan areas, and we do know that the metro
And I'm not talking about the rural areas, even though there are Black people in the rural areas of for example, Mississippi, and some other rural areas in the South, but like the Midwest rural areas and stuff like that, we're really, we there is that statement being made was made with was very disingenuous to the actual fabric of our nation as it is today. Because if that was the case, if that wasn't the case, if Democrats really weren't a significant majority, then you wouldn't have states like, for example, Tennessee going into Democratic cities that are predominantly Democrat and then splitting them up on the congressional.
So I think that whether it's more establishment Dems, non-progressive, progressive Dems, DSA Dems, I think that everyone understands to a certain extent, some more than others, that going into the general, we do need to, people don't want to hear it, don't even whisper it. That's why I think that it's going to be bad for Republicans who are going to run on something that's, quite frankly, a little bit too dated. This anti-woke, anti-wokeism. It's not going to bear well for them. It's not going to be fruitful for them because they're just going to be punching against, no, where's it in our mouth? They don't like it. I think that the establishment has learned enough now to know that we essentially need to shut the fuck up about trans issues, and maybe we can move some things down the ballot in some of our statewides or some of our, state level government, but we need to really zip it and focus on this cost of living and the angst of the working class, which establishment Dems are responsible for just as much as Republicans are, to a certain extent over the last several decades. So, yeah.
Scott, that clip was
Did you say 80%?
Me down to where I was trolling, sis. Walk me down to where I was trolling.
What the fuck I said?
Where? You just talking in the wind, flapping your gums, flapping them banana flappers.
Like the fuck I said.
What are we doing?
Like
Who's
the
trolling?
fuck I said, bitch.
Who's trolling? Who did I say that was trolling?
I need to repeat myself.
What did I say that was trolling?
And you not here?
What did I say that was
And you
trolling?
not here? And you
What did
not
I say
here?
that was trolling?
And you not here?
You not here?
I'm not
Articulate yourself, monkey. Articulate yourself. Who is trolling? Hold on. I don't think that he can hear loud enough. I don't want to do it, y'all. I don't want to do it.
I didn't say you.
I don't want to do it. We bring out the pistol, y'all.
What you have to say.
I don't have to do it. Excuse me. Who the fuck is trolling, monkey? I'm asking you very fucking clearly. Who's trolling? Who's trolling? Who's trolling? What did I say? Give me a time. Give me a bit. Okay? Who's trolling? Excuse me. When was I trolling? What did I say, monkey? What did I say? What did I say? Repeat it. You want to hear it verbatim. You're not going to talk to me again. I got the loudest mic. So again,
You ain't got shit on me.
what did I say?
I never got them to troll, bro.
Thank you. Like hello. So, but you want to know what you said? So what he said was.
Thank you. What am I trolling? I believe this shit. I believe the shit that I said. So again,
I'm gonna say what he said.
y'all see this shit that I said. So again,
Hey man, come on man. Y'all saying a bunch of stuff.
he won't answer the question.
He
won't answer the question.
You talking over me.
Can I get in the queue? You can talk right now, man. Go ahead. One mic on the nigga that want to go in the queue.
I can't make you don't play with me. Okay, so are the black and white communities building at all? No. Okay, because there's so much propaganda out there with blacks and whites in America that I don't know. I'm just like lost and confused on what's happening. I mean, this
country is about to become little Mexico, little China, little India, little everything. And like, I'm just so shocked because if like I thought that racism was big and all that other stuff, but it's just like y'all just allow this country to be just destroyed based upon things that don't exist anymore. All these isms and isms and kisms and Beyonce's and Rihanna's, and I don't even. It's like time is moving by so fast and just nothing is. General, there's another dead white person, not dead black person.
You know, unfortunately, you know, you have people in the 12th grade who are said to be reading at maybe an 7th or 8th grade level. Like, those things have to be corrected. We haven't even gotten to college yet. Like, we need to really get people like the fundamentals, the basics of reading and arithmetic, and you know, but also to really absorb those things, to really enjoy those things, to understand the importance of those things.
You know, I think if we're talking about some sort of way to repair the society, to create more, you know, unity and all this stuff, I think it's not just using education as a tool for technical skills, but there needs to be some sort of mythos, you know, that is created, that is shared by everybody. You know, people need to start liking, not even loving, but just liking their country and the country that they live in. Because right now, starting in middle school, kids are taught, you know, that they should be ashamed of the country that they live in, that it has never done anything good, it's always bad. You know, the whole history is contingent on the first sin. And, you know, what kind of adult will grow out of that? The adult who is ashamed to be where he is, ashamed to participate in the system. He hates the system. He wants to, you know, denigrate it or dismantle it in some way, shape, or form. And that will create only bad outcomes. That is going to come to a crushing stop. So I think creating a shared, you know, national identity of some sort that used to be what was, you know, holding the society together. I think that's the key.
Does anybody know what happened in other space? I don't even know what took place.
I have no idea, man. I thought you just lost the
Did you
connection.
get my ping, Howard? Did you see me ping you to the room?
What happened, Professor?
Did you see me ping you to the other room?
No, I can't see the room anymore.
I think usually something like this happens when somebody has you blocked and they're on stage or something like that.
That's what I'm trying to find out, if he's blocked or if he was removed.
Yeah, it sounds like he was removed. I don't know if you had posted any messages. Oh, he's gone. But if he posted messages in the chat. Okay, Edward, if you can't get in, I will take a look and see. Did you post any messages in?
Yeah, I can't see anything in the chat over there.
Were you able to get in the room?
No.
Yeah, so someone removed you. I'll go take a look.
But you know, another very strong driving force right now is resentment. Like resentment towards the system that failed people's expectations. And I think there's a lot of components to it, including the, you know, like the employment. And this is why people feel that the system owes them something, or the society owes them to pay for their higher education, owes them to make sure that they have a job. And the only way to accommodate them is through government interference. You know, having something like quotas that will assign them job, like, you know, like they did in the Soviet Union or something like that. And that's, once again, that's a path to failure.
I don't disagree with you, but you know, I thought Andre and Professor, I thought we were having a good conversation, but it was kind of crazy.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah, because I'm trying to find out, why are we basing everything outside of numbers? Okay, why are we thinking that the system is against any individual? If I want to participate in the system, then I got to figure out how the system works. But if I believe the system is against me because I'm a male, because I'm ethnically black, whatever, then I got to stay away from that part of the system. That's how I see it.
well, it's how people feel. You know, I think that's one of the human, like, the tragedies of human condition, because we rationalize our feelings and we try to make sense out of them internally. And if the reality does not complement of how we feel we should, you know, like what kind of return we should get, it becomes a conflict, and people try to change the reality to make sure it accommodates their internal feel about what it should be. That was, you know, like the craziest part of the conversation that I entered, you know, was like when I forgot who was claiming that the higher education is a right somehow. I mean, on what basis? Like, why would you have that right?
Like, why wouldn't
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have the right to steal like?
Well, you know, Beef, you were accusing Steve Apple of being a mod fascist, and you have openly admitted. My attorney, Dr. McZad here, though he's busy with his 15 children, I'm sure would be happy to represent me in your jurisdiction in a lawsuit. Thank you very little.
I found it like I think Reddit has like an option to save.
Also, there's you should just have a quotes folder. I have a quotes folder. It makes it much easier for me to reference shit that I think is like I'm gonna bring up later.
I save my stuff as Facebook posts that I like put to be private only for me, and or as comments on Reddit that I leave. So that's how I save my stuff.
Also, you should add me on Facebook if you haven't already. I post lots of shit too.
There's this Irish TikTok like crazy person that I watch who's like, she's very into like all the conspiracies, like the Epstein's. She deep dives. One of her things about Reddit is she's firm that Reddit is a psyop for Maxwell and her father. Like Ghislaine Maxwell owns Reddit or like invested early in it, and there's like she even proved that some of like the early comments are straight up her because they stopped happening when she went to prison.
So there, that's not true. I'm familiar with this theory. There's a Reddit account called Maxwell Hill that people claim
For McGraw-Hill, right?
Sorry.
For McGraw-Hill, that's the company her father like owned.
Okay, I see. I mean, it's not actually her. I mean, I guess there are a few timing coincidences, but like it's clearly some guy who lives or has been to Southeast Asia, and like the main piece of evidence is that his activity stopped right around the time when Maxwell was arrested. So I'm pretty sure people, like, even though he stopped posting publicly, people have gotten in touch with him, and he still like has access to his Reddit account. He was probably just like flooded with insane conspiracists accusing him of being Ghislaine Maxwell and just left the app. And I mean, it also doesn't make sense. Like, he was like this massive Reddit power user who was a mod in all of these, many, like a huge number of Reddits, some of which are like the biggest ones on the site, like r/technology. It just doesn't seem super likely that Ghislaine Maxwell would be spending that amount of time moderating Reddit, like that much Reddit.
Yeah, I don't think she would do it personally, at least under this Irish lady's theory. She theorizes that it's part of her like counterintelligence proposal of making people believe certain things that she wants. So like she has underlings, but that she also uses the account personally. That's the theory.
I mean, sure, I guess it's possible. Like, seems a bit of a seems sort of.
Oh,
like
I don't know. I just like the theory. I think it's fun.
Hey, Chris, you're evil day.
Okay, so about the previous thing about the Chinese.
Oh my God, Zeleny, we've moved on.
Yeah, like the thing
Chinese emperor is called, if you want to Google it, Wang Mang. So
Wang.
W-A.
Wang Mang?
M-A-N-G. CE 23 CE, so like the emperor of Jesus. He abolished slavery and redistributed land.
Anyway, which dynasty is this? This is the Jin dynasty. Okay, well, that's not a very big dynasty. Alright, but that's cool. That's awesome.
How long did it last?
Only during his own life, the next emperor reversed all the changes.
Yeah, that tends to happen when people try to free slaves.
People often say that Muhammad couldn't have banned slavery. That's a great data point. That's probably gonna go into my document. So thank you for that one.
Yeah, I can see you pulling that out of your
like,
back pocket at the right time.
There is a guy in the Middle Ages. There is a guy in the Middle Ages who abolished slavery, and like his remained in force until the modern era, and that's Louis X. In 1315, he abolished slavery in France by law, and that remained in effect until the modern era.
There was a woman named Bathilda or something like that, and she was like a former slave that became like some sort of high nobility, and then she banned slavery in some sort of like duchy in somewhere in Europe. And she was kind of a contemporary of Muhammad. That's why I know about that, because I used it as my example that I tried to come to for he could have. People at the time had the idea that maybe slavery is bad.
But Sam, I have to prepare you,
like,
for the actual moving of the goalpost. Because like you should research who these people that ended slavery were. Because if they were like also slaughtering little kids, the Muslims are gonna like throw that in your face.
Sure.
First century BCE, recounting the view of the Essenes that he had contact with. And he says about them, he says, there is not a single slave among them, but they are all free, aiding one another with reciprocal interchange of goods, and they condemn masters not only as unjust inasmuch as they corrupt the principle of equality, but likewise as impious, because they destroy the ordinances of nature we generated all equally and brought them up like a mother, as if they were all brethren, not in name only, but in reality and truth. Like you could get like a more explicit and more adamant condemnation of slavery, and this is like first century BCE and BC.
I got a question. Do you think there was ever like a slave master that raised his slaves to a very high degree to where the slaves actually, accepted their position legally, philosophically, psychologically, and were happy and pleased with their status because they were in the protectorate of a kind slave master? And then, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, is there such a thing as a solipsistic or stoic slave?
I have to recount it with her question.
I'm sure such a person existed. I'm sure there was some really nice slave owner that existed. Like, that would be very surprising.
In fact, I would like guess that there was a huge amount of slaves like that. Like probably like the vast majority of slaves just accepted it as their natural state of the world. They didn't know better or whatever. Like it's just a fact of life. This is what it is. And then like I'm guessing like huge amount of like slave owners weren't just rabid, sadists that were kind of, like attempted to treat people. So I'm guessing like actually a huge number of slaves were kind of okay.
And another great, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'm sure weren't there like, slaves in various Islamic empires who were appointed to high positions like generals or viziers or whatever. I mean, I'm sure they were pretty happy with the state of their slavery. I'm also guessing that like many,
in the Ottoman Empire,
I'm sure many harem concubines were just like, I don't have to do anything. I can buy whose children. I'll be raised even higher. Like this is a great deal for me.
But I mean, like,
another example of this.
People don't generally like prison.
Another example of this is the Greek slaves that would be Roman aristocrats would sometimes hire or buy educated Greek slaves, and then they would just be the tutors of their children. Probably a pretty easy gig as far as slavery goes, you know? And you could even buy your own freedom in Rome. So a lot of these Greeks would just like work like side hustles to get money, then buy their own freedom.
Yeah, no, when there was a path to freedom, that usually made it okay. Like the Romans were pretty good with that. You can get out of slavery there.
Well, and in most cases, like how these people are treated, there is some, technical possibility of them buying out their, freedom that's being like dangled in front of them, but they can never reach it. It's like,
well, is it like modern day slavery? I think it's Hillel or Maimonides that said if you can make someone angry, you can make them your slave. So in the attention economy and the drama maker creator economy on this app with a lot of faggot retards who create drama, they're like the slave masters of the people who get angry. Hello?
Who argues that Pro is funnier than you? That's like mean.
Apparently
Pro Lyrical was arguing very forcefully that he's much funnier than me. And then I said, do you want to have a poll on it that we put money on how the poll will go? And he's like, I don't, the classics, I don't want to bet money on things. I don't want to do a poll. And I'm like, okay, why wouldn't you want to do it? He's like, oh, the fact that you would want to do a poll means you're not funny. And I'm like, oh, so people, there's no funny people that run polls. Like, there's no pollsters. Like, the people with the job that run, that have a good sense of humor. Anyway.
He's just trying to sidestep you by saying the very fact that you ran the poll proves that you lost.
Yeah, but not a very...
Well, you should have another poll. Who's the better musician?
Today, instead of doing this, like, oh, you think you beat me in a debate? You think you're funnier than me? And he was, like, doing this, like, all this shit, and then I was just in no mood for it and was kind of being really aggressive. Like, who? Say I'm being more aggressive than is appropriate? No, really? Not him.
I'll call the papers tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're both musicians, and you're both retarded. So you need to have a retard musician rap-off competition, and let us all judge it and do a poll with an Ashkenaz ginger versus a sullied down white pasty ugly.
He's what's known as a Uyghur. That's what China. No, he isn't. Oh, I'm a Uyghur.
Yeah, Uyghur.
I get that, but listen, okay, Uyghurs have actual genetics.
He's an offshoot from Eminem. He was a guy who saw an Eminem video. See, what's amazing is Pro Lyrical has gotten laid at least 300 times at every performance. Yeah, and he has children and he has a career. I'm saying as a musician, it's a little bit like having a magic wand to make people's panties drop because they think you're something amazing at the moment because you can actually use words with background music. All I'm just saying is a Uyghur is a very good description, and he has. I know you guys think I've wasted a lot of my time on this app, but Pro Lyrical is a premium pro time waster on this app. He's one of the best.
Yeah, I think he is good at it. I think he told me himself that he doesn't like having sex very much. So I think the 300 number might be a little exaggerated.
He said he had sex with 300 people after.
No. Chicago here said that he had still had the sex because of his musician abilities, but Pro Lyrical himself was being like, I don't really I'm not interested in sex. There's just so much other stuff to do in life. I'm not wasting my time on that.
Also, what's with the English pronunciation? The name of that Chinese minority?
The Uyghurs?
Wait, so what's
they're called the Uyghurs?
Well, he was joking. He was referencing an English slang term, which is
I know. I know what the joke was, but the actual pronunciation of their name, the Chinese group, the minority group in English, is this weird.
Uyghur. Yeah. No, I agree. Listen, English is like slow to develop stuff. Like my mom, for the longest time, kept referring to Muslims as Moslems.
Yeah, that's
how she.
It's a boomer thing. All the boomers used to say that.
That's what they used to call it. That's how it was written in the book, Moslem.
Yeah.
It's like not her fault, but I'm like, sorry, you have to adjust it. Like the current English understanding of the pronunciation of that word has shifted.
Yeah, I prefer to go either by Mohammedan or
I like that one.
Or Saracen. I think both of those terms should be.
Saracen is so badass.
What about Mahometan?
I've not seen Muhammad.
That sounds like an alien from a planet.
I think Saracen sounds the coolest.
Wait, sorry. What about Musulman?
Ooh, muscles.
Musulman. Is that one?
I think so. They did have men at like the end of some of the pronunciations. Musulman, something like that.
It's like all Muslims looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like we're the Muslim.
The Musulmans.
I'm going Saracen. I think that's.
Someone was like saying, "Oh, my dad is real old-fashioned," and you see that he's dressed up in full Crusader armor.
She's drop dead gorgeous, but she wears the full burqa thing. And if I were to go the Muslim route and hook up with a hot Muslim chick that wanted to get married, I mean, I could be down for polygamy, because if I could have 3 amazing wives, what I'm saying is I can't even successfully have one relationship. So how the fuck would 3 wives actually work out? It would take incredible faith. And the women would have to actually be somewhat polite, and work with me and each other. So, like, is it possible? Is it possible? Well, I'm saying I want to bring peace into my relationships, and too many women want to just say, buy me this, buy me this, buy me this. I'm not eating that. I'm not yuck. So I'm just saying that, like, it's not a problem. Women today are brand whores, and they want gifts and sugar daddies, and they don't want to have kids, and they want to take their plan B. And they, all I'm saying is we have a population collapse, and Islam is going to solve the population collapse because of polygamy. It is the greatest infiltration psyop ever created by a religious charlatan because of the polygamy aspect. You can divide, conquer, and mass multiply your faith very quickly. And notice, I didn't say faith. I said faith. Hello?
I don't think, they often have high birth rates, but I don't think the polygamy is the main culprit. I think it's mostly just poverty. Like, even monogamous, even monogamous couples in Islamic countries tend to have high fertility. And in fact, polygamy is relatively rare. So it can only count for so much.
So there's this thing with aphids where aphids, their populations grow really fast because the mother, when they have children, they give birth to pregnant babies. So the babies are already pregnant when they're born. So they're all just like locked and loaded. So it's like every brood is like a double brood, if you understand the idea. I kind of suspect that Muslims might be doing this because it's just like that they're born pregnant. Because like how else would they just like blasting out children like that? Do you know what I mean? Like it's just I'll say it's looking. That's the only thing I'm trying to get.
It's, in my estimation, more a question of social priorities. America's just not very child or family friendly.
You see, Mixed, I know you know a lot of the Bukhari hadiths, but there's actually a Bukhari hadith that says when you impregnate a 4-year-old with Hydra babies, make sure that the aphids are in that booty hole. Something you might work with it. It's hello.
It's not Sahih.
Yeah.
Never read it before.
The Shias don't accept that one.
Narges, it's so good to see you. Narges, what do you think about people opening up Cult of Narges rooms? Like,
Talking about a sleeping.
Has forsaken us. You're telling me that they were crying because mommy went to sleep?
This is so weird.
getting weirder and weirder on the South.
Always weird. Just people don't always pay attention.
Hey, McZed, are you in the Holy City?
Nope.
When did you leave Delhi?
I did. Delhi?
I was pretending.
Get the hell out of
I
here.
was pretending that was the Holy City. My bad.
Nah, I took the bus down to Eilat. At the border with Jordan now. They built a new airplane.
Are you going to Petra?
Eilat. No, we drove past it.
Yeah.
No, Eilat is the great beach spot. You know, they got resorts and everything.
I do a lot.
Yeah, it's great there. Here. And this is a really nice hotel. My wife's cousin comes here regularly. He's got 2 kids. Place is decked out for kids.
Have you thrown
You
any?
gone with your kids or with your family? You gone with your family?
Yeah, my kids are here, yeah.
Have you thrown any rocks at any gas stations too?
Cool.
No, but I did get ripped off by a couple of Arabs.
Well, I just think that you should be part of the culture there. You know what I mean? You're in Israel.
That is being part of the culture. I'm a white presenting Jew speaking English. They rip me off. They feel a little better. Fine, whatever.
John Kitover, you're being way better behaved than you usually are. I'm not trying to offend you of your self-control.
That's what, guys, that's what I'm trying to tell you. He is a very sensitive person, especially in public around people. That's why he compulsively gets into this thing. He usually can't calm down, but when he is, he's a nice, decent guy. He's just usually nervous.
I would in fact vote for him over Brandon Johnson. And I'm not being sarcastic.
You still got
Nice.
one.
That's one. You got one Canadian to vote for.
Canadian?
Oh, I thought work was up in Canada. My bad.
No.
It's not that cool.
What did you say, Sam? You kind of cut out.
Chicago's cold, but it's not that cold.
Am I still cutting now?
No, you said Chicago is cold, but not that cold. I don't totally get it. Oh, you mean to be Canada? That Chicago would be Canada?
Mixad, I've been to Aqaba because I have a Jordanian friend here in Chicago who's got a condo in Oman. Yeah, we didn't cross over, but when we were there, we couldn't find a restaurant that was open. We're marching up this hill, so we find this restaurant. My friend's dad negotiates the price for the entire meal before we even sit down. We wouldn't sit down until we had the confirmed price. And then we sit down. I was like, are you sure you're not Jewish? But anyways, they got that border crossing between Eilat and Aqaba. And I've never been to Eilat, but I'm sure your side is better. But the Moving Pick is a nice hotel. But beef, I am a nice person. And as Mixed said, I'm kind of sensitive. But the point is, this app, what I realized, because I read a book recently, and it talked about the pillars of art, and drama is one of them. And so, I'm a little bit of a drama maker because I live stream all my performances. A creator, but Steve Apple, the world famous Jewish atheist, is all.
We're basically Shakespeare, you know what I mean? We're creating great, beautiful plays for everyone to enjoy. It's very generous of us.
By rule of improper conjugation. Yep.
But Chicago, I think we just need to have a quick wisdom checkpoint. So, everybody, quick wisdom checkpoint.
Those always make me feel better.
Hold on, we're at a quick wisdom checkpoint. You should change the things you have the power to change and accept the things that you don't have the power to change, and then you should have the wisdom to know the difference. All right, that's our wisdom checkpoint. All right, continue.
Nice.
Well, Well, I have a tattoo on my arm that says I'm the biggest faggot retard alive. It actually says that the more you think, it's small print, but it says the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get, or those who say do not know and those who know do not say. So if you know the secret to the recipe, Well, you don't really talk about it.
Just based on that logic, those who know do not say, those who do not know say, would that be like a saying that somebody said? Doesn't mean
Yeah, the book says yes. The book says that mystics are chatterboxes, and they have to be, because if you look at it from an economic or a business perspective, it's just the publishing industry, and it's the content creation industry. Every single person in history basically was a content creator, and I have proof. I've seen videos of Adolf Hitler making videos as if he was a social media influencer in the fucking 30s and 40s. And he's a faggot retard. So the point is,
he was also a social media influencer.
yes. And so when AOC is on day 15 of freezing eggs, you have to realize that you, the consumer, you're a faggot retard, because you yourself have no priorities. You waste all your time looking at stupid fucking content stuff. Hello?
We're really good for a little bit. You're
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
short. You're to yourself. You're little good. But now you're trying to make it the Chicago joke, and now it's pissing me off. So just
He's a dangerous guy to give attention to.
just throw in a jab every once in a while. Throw in a haymaker. Don't make it the John Kitover hour. If that's But another wisdom checkpoint. All right, so you should have the power to win zero-sum games and the intelligence to find non-zero-sum games, and then you should have the taste or the judgment to know which is which.
Yeah, I think you gotta work on that one a bit.
Yeah, I gotta workshop it.
You know, for like pearls of wisdom, even though yes, the content is valuable, but it's really the poetry of it, getting it precise and like communicable so that it like sticks. You know, bird in the hand, two in the bush. You know.
Well, read books. Not many of you actually read books anymore. But if you've never read Epictetus, not Epictetus, but Epictetus, you really should. And Marcus Aurelius is like the inheritor of Epictetus in a way. Yes, but Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, it's literally like the same writing. So I wonder if they're actually the same author. But anyways, the point is, if you've never read Stoic philosophy or the pagan moralists, you're really at a big disadvantage.
Big lupus.
You don't like Ficus?
I like Ficus.
So he just started staring him down.
The writings of Marcus Aurelius, like Epictetus' works, then known. It's Musonius Rufus. He was a Roman Stoic philosopher. Like, there's a collection of his lectures that's preserved. It's pretty awesome.
So they've been starting to decode the Vesuvius scrolls. So basically, a library was caught in the lava, and people have been trying to figure out how to like get the scrolls to be read, even though they've been massively burned. And they've recently, with AI, been able to, or like scanning technology, been able to read some of them, which is like super cool. But unfortunately, it seems to be most of the things that they've translated are just the writings of one specific Epicurean philosopher. Like stuff we were hoping that we'd have like a wide diversity of Greek thought in this library.
Now let me just say this: when you read Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, when you compare it to the Bible, you're like astonished at how stupid the Bible is compared to the moral pagans or the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus is so intelligent compared to the Bible, it makes the Bible look retarded. I am complete. Hello?
No, Deepak had a huge blunder today. So I said Andrew should be called Chinadu, and then Deepak was like, I don't get it. Like, bro. Oh my
Because of his like
goodness.
4 foot long chin, I get it.
Yeah, you would think that a person of Deepak's intelligence would be able to get that one. Also, given that he's a dad joke aficionado, so that's just a huge blunder. Deepak
Makes me suspect it was an imposter Deepak and not the real genuine.
Yeah.
The real Deepak is being held up in a ski lodge somewhere in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah, ever since he allegedly came back from Switzerland, he stopped getting the Andrew physiognomy joke.
Andrew should be called Clandrew.
Nice. Pro Lyrical's here. Why don't you look at the poll, Pro Lyrical? Why don't you take a quick look?
Can we also get a? Can we get a rap off? Can we get a rap? Can we get a rap battle? Let's get a rap battle going on.
Didn't win the poll, you fucking.
Hey, look, he's making a comeback.
Can I also just offer one more little tidbit about the Romans and Christianity and Jesus and the Jews? It's my belief that, you know, the Council of Nicaea, whatever, the Romans, they incorporated Christianity, aka Judaism, into their legal, industrial, political, economic consciousness, because the leaders at the time rationally came to the conclusion, hey, fuck it, let's make this fucking pathetic. Let's just run with it. Fuck it.
Tell you about centering yourself. You gotta just. I'm trying not to just know that that means you don't become involved, and that you should just every once in a while throw in like a funny remark, but don't center yourself. That's what you gotta not do. All right, Mills, I think you should be called. I don't know what you should be called. No. Pro, I smoked a pack of cigarettes, and then I had to stop, so I was kind of high strung. And for some reason, Pro was like, "Oh," I said, "Oh, it's only a joke." I sarcastically said, "Like, hey, it's a joke, Pro." And the Pro said, "Oh, you think you're funnier than me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh, you," and then he wouldn't have a poll in his room, and he said, "Oh, you." And I was like, "Why don't we do a poll and put money on it?" He said, "Well, I don't want to put money on it." So then he was just afraid to have the poll. And now look at this. Look at this, Pro. Oh, you're not as funny as you thought you were.
I just want to come to Pro Lyrical's defense, Sam, because yesterday. Well, Sam, Pro yesterday had a breakthrough moment where he was self-deprecating. He let me actually commandeer the room for, honestly, like an hour, and he was very self-deprecating. And I asked him, you know, when your students humiliate you or embarrass you, and you're made to look like an idiot and the fool that you are, like, how do you deal with that humiliation? And he was open and honest about it. He's actually a cool guy. But see, you and him are much more alike than you think, because Pro here will die on a hill and stab himself with Carmelo Anthony's knife to prove that trans people are people. And I agree, they are people. But if you are an NFR,
A long leash, man. I give you the longest of leashes.
That guy was
Pro, are you?
That guy was probably the most annoying person I've ever come across.
So, Pro, you really do admit that maybe you overestimated your humor abilities?
the most annoying person I've ever met in my life.
I thought that was pretty funny right there. That was good stuff. Good material.
Well, it looks like you lost the poll. It looks like most people don't think you're funny. It looks like that's the consensus of the room. So, you know, maybe you should update your world model, get in the sort of scientific consensus.
Maybe you should grow red hair. That might make you funnier look.
I'm not sure if the 20 people in your room that you host is exactly what I would accept as a decent sample.
Well, I was willing to run it in your room, but you were too much of a pussy to let me run it.
I would never do something that corny, bro.
Yeah, so.
All right, so invite your friends. Maybe they'll, juke the stats.
I think I'm good.
Look at your room. You know that you're not that funny. It must be kind of like mortifying, where you're in a room full of people that don't think you're that funny, and you're like, oh, but actually I am secretly really funny. Like, all you have is sarcastic, smarmy, smug remarks. You don't have, like, a depth of learning. You're not a very curious person.
Good enough, man.
And you're not a very funny person. And the way you know you're not a very funny person is the poll. Is the evidence so that no one voted for you.
The poll definitely is concrete evidence of that.
It is evidence. Do you want to deny this?
This also makes me correct that I was as smart as you with math, but that's just an aside. You know, I think CM should hear your ranking system too. I think he was.
Yeah, CM knows.
Because
CM knows well
is
that I
smart.
think he's a retard. CM knows that I think he's
See,
a
I think
he's a retard.
my general philosophy is I think most people are stupid on most things and they're just smart on a handful of stuff. And you know, I'm speaking on a couple things sometimes that maybe aren't.
Hold on. I don't fully disagree with that philosophy. Something I always say is like everyone is ignorant about something. But what exactly are the set of things that CM is not retarded on? Just
Great question, Sam.
I think
But like, look, I could tell you personally, like if you ask me, I could give you a list of things that I know a lot about, I'm fairly informed on, and things that I don't know that much about. And I know that I'm not like super interested or super informed on. I think CM is, just based on the maybe hour and a half, 2 hours I heard him talk, he just strikes me as one of those people that just has a general form of profound mental retardation. Like it's just every topic.
I think to your point, one of the things he's probably not great on public speaking. So I think that kind of makes everything else look a little lower by default. When you're trying to cover it with your public speaking. You know what I mean?
Hey Sam, I have a question for you.
Sure. Yeah, what?
Why do you prefer capitalism over socialism?
I guess I think that capitalism generates wealth and that the default of existence is poverty.
I'm sorry, I was best at Sam.
The others.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to see. Yeah, Beefy is actually it's also Sam. But
sorry for the confusion.
You know, man, I'll put it this way. The reason why, like, the system of government I generally support is one that is still capitalist, but where there's like heavy government involvement for regulation, where there's like, so it's kind of two reasons. Where there's like significant antitrust enforcement and
Sam,
you're in the matrix. You're in the matrix. But I just want to interrupt. You're in the matrix.
Hold on.
You're in the matrix, Sam. But I just want to say that, like, Pro, usually you just sit in your own rooms or you're a moderator, but you get to be a little petty tyrant. So I'm commending you on the courage to you to come in here where you don't get to have your little petty mod powers. So, like, good job, man. Like, you're having a little bit of courage. Like, it's not just like the usual tiny dick moves that you do where you're always just modding your own spaces. So, you know, good job. Good job growing up here.
That means a lot coming from a funny guy like you.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, scientifically, I am funnier than you. That's what the scientific evidence says. And, you know.
No, I mean,
Millis, do you think, just out of curiosity, Millis, do you think that someone making a poll? All right, you got it, them.
Well, yeah. So I think we had significant government oversight and regulations.
Gotcha. But like, of course, you would still advocate for social safety nets and welfare systems, like for the betterment of quality of life for those. Like,
I actually think yes, and I actually think those things being associated exclusively with socialism is probably just like a big political misunderstanding.
Right.
But I'll put it this way. I don't think, how do I say this? I think by and large, most people, especially in the US, who identify as socialists, I mean, honestly, they want the same things as the people that are just like more dem or liberal leaning, but like aren't identifying as socialists. I think those people should find a lot more common ground than they do now, to be honest with you.
All right, I appreciate this little interlude you guys had. So I want to back to how Pro-Lyrical thinks CM is smart, whereas if you pull anyone smart on this app, they'll think he's a retard. So you ask them, Mark, Bob, Millis, Nargis, Zeleny, they'll say, yes, CM is not a smart man. And for some reason, Pro-Lyrical cannot notice this. He just can't detect it. He's just, you know, there's something about his like pattern recognition skills that are so a little bit deficient. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's he's a dumb fuck.
I think it's like an in-group thing.
You think? I mean, you think
like there's a small in-group of new atheists in Clubhouse, and they tend to stick together.
You should be able to
It's
tell that
just-
Sam isn't smart. If you're a smart person, you should be able to tell that Sam is not smart. That's.
I agree. I mean, bro, I interacted with him for like 2 hours, and it seemed obvious that he was an idiot. But I don't know.
Oh man.
I mean, listing me there is kind of a mute point because I would say for anyone that they're smart. So
It's just this is a weird, like, postmodernist thing people do. Like, nobody is intelligent. Okay, bro, just to avoid any kind of criticism of this person. Oh my god. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
when
then
we
he
started
is
to see him
uncommon.
talk for like two seconds, like recognize that he's like a rambling buffoon, doesn't say anything remotely intelligent ever. I don't know. Look, it's Thursday.
I don't know. I think that Zeleny on intelligence is one of his less. I don't know. I don't buy it, Zeleny. I think I agree with
one
you.
of my less intelligent takes, you want to say?
Yeah, exactly.